right, well, I'm not taking you to prison. And I haven't really learned to ride a bike yet, but I'm taking you guys to summer camp. Yay, yeah. So when I was 15, I went to this summer camp up in British Columbia. And like most summer camps, they kept our schedules so full, and I kind of felt this desire to be alone. So I kind of snuck away. I found this little path, and I came out to this rocky cliff that overlooked just the vastness of the Pacific Ocean. And it was still, and it was quiet. And in that moment, I heard a voice. Pick up the rock. Why did it want me to pick up a rock? But I did it, and I didn't even hesitate. And I was like a 15-year-old that didn't listen to like anybody, right? When you guys are those sassy teenagers. And why did I feel this need to pick up the rock? But something in like the core of my being knew that moment was significant. I knew that my life was never going to be the same. Have you had one of those moments in your life? May not make sense to other people, but it makes sense to you. That you can describe it like it was yesterday. You can remember all the scenery. It's very vivid in your memory. And you knew that by whatever was happening in that moment, that everything there forward was forever changed. For me, it was the moment I heard my voice. It didn't speak very loudly. It just whispered. But I also knew that I could choose whether or whether not to listen to that voice. But because I did, everything in my life has been clearer. So just smile if you could get excited about a little clarity in your life, right? So there I stood, and I didn't hesitate, and I picked up the rock. Now this rock represented for me some judgments, some limiting beliefs, and at 15, it was a whole lot of self-doubt. And what I heard in the moment was my voice telling me that I had a calling on my life, and in order for me to walk it out, I had to throw this rock. But I liked my rock. It kept me safe, it kept me comfortable, distracted. But if I threw the rock, I could be free. If I threw the rock, it also meant that I could never get it back again. But in that moment, I just took that rock as far out as I could throw it. Maybe you've heard the voice. It only speaks the truth. It never lies. And it never changes its mind. It is your perfect guide. Your perfect guide to all the ease and simplicity and love and fun and abundance that you want to welcome into your life. Maybe you also are aware of the rocks, right? Like some of you, maybe some really good rock collectors in here, right? Maybe you're really good at hiding your rocks. Maybe you're too scared to even pick up the rocks. But the truth of it is, we can only carry so many. And you've maybe been busy collecting rocks, and it's become so heavy, you cannot hear your voice. Like that rock right over there. That one looks pretty neat. I'm gonna go ahead and just, ow. Oh, you guys see that? You see all the sharp edges? Really hurts to hold. This is super uncomfortable. It's one of those jagged rocks. This rock for me has been the rock of comparison. And it's kind of just been like this rocking horse that takes up all my time and energy and I get nowhere. Anybody been on that horse? before. And I have experienced financial and physical freedom, but I was still holding this rock. And it left me attached. It left me self-sabotaging. And until I made the decision that I am not going to be good at everything, just because that person over there has, done great things in their life, the voice told me that I have everything I need to walk out my calling. If I don't have it, I guess I don't need it. So if you don't have it, maybe you don't need that to do what you need to do in your life. So I take this rock of comparison when I feel that in my hands, because it doesn't hurt other people, it just hurts me. And I just take my best arm here and I throw it as far out and watch it sink. Oh, and then there's this big one right here. You guys see that? All right, this is gonna be harder to do in heels, but we're gonna go for it. Oh, it's so heavy. In fact, I can hardly breathe. I'm gonna have to put it down in order to talk to you guys. Have any of you ever felt like that? This rock for me is the rock of overwhelm. And when I'm carrying it, I am either in the past and regretful, reliving my mistakes, or I'm holding it in the future and I'm worried and I'm fearful and, planning and overthinking. But when I let go of the rock, I can actually just embrace the moment. See, I have a really busy head. I'm a little cray-cray. See some laughs. Maybe you are too, right? And when I'm in the moment, I have to stop thinking and start experiencing. I have to believe that this moment right in front of me is the most beautiful moment, and it's meant to be experienced, not to be planning the next moment. Have you ever just sat at lunch and you're already thinking about what you're gonna eat for dinner? Good, me too. And it's just, what is going on right in front of me? And then realizing that in the moment, I can actually only do one thing. I wore the multitasking badge of honor. It was because maybe you wear a lot of hats. I'm a mom, I'm a coach, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a wife, right? We can go on and on and on. And I wore that just holding on to that rock that I can do all of this at the same time. But when I realized that left me in a place of overwhelm, I got to put down that rock. So which rock is weighing you down? Then there's that pretty rock over there that I excited to pick up, and do you guys see that? These are the ones we like to collect, the ones we want in our collection. It's smooth, it has little gold sparkles. And for me, this represents some beliefs, some judgments that I've had that I've only seen the pretty side. But what it takes for me is I have to flip it over. And I've realized that some of the things that I have come to just thinking that they were true were really messy and dirty, maybe even a bug crawling in there, on the other side. So this rock for me has been the judgment of money. I actually had a belief that I should not want for more. I should be content with what I have. Any of you ever felt that? And this judgment of money, whether it was making it or spending it or giving it, it was blocking the flow of what I wanted most in my life. See, there are people who have prejudice of people who don't have money. And there's equally people who have prejudice against people who make money. And not everyone who is poor is lazy. Would you all agree? And not everyone who is wealthy has made it in an unethical way. Would you all agree? Now, sure, I'm sure there's been some unethical wealth creation, but there are so many people who have made money in a space of love. And so realizing that this judgment I had was literally taking, just imagine water just flowing into you, was just taking that faucet and just righty-tighty, like I was just in so much judgment of that flowing into my life. And when I made the decision to just, like little lefty-loosey here and let some of this flow in, how I did that is I took this rock of judgment and this rock of envy and just started to loosen up, and I was able to throw it in celebration of others. Celebrate people for the things that maybe you have in your life. Don't stand in judgment of them. Stand in, in just celebration of them and release that rock. And then there's these cute little pebbles over here. We all have room for more pebbles, right? We always think we have space. These are the rocks that we are carrying for others. Oh, let me take those from you. Let me hold these for you. Let me help you. Let me save you. And at first we think we're doing them a service, but holding other people's rocks disempowers them from learning to throw their own. If you want to empower people, you empower them to learn to release their burdens. You don't hold them for them. So 25 years ago, I started with one rock. And I've been able to replay that victory over and over again. And the more success and abundance that's flown into our lives, I can tell you, the bigger and the heavier, the sharper the rocks. So I've learned that you don't really get rid of them. In fact, they're necessary for your growth. They will keep you grounded. They will be a great balancer and a great tester. And I have learned to just be grateful for the rocks in my life. Grateful because they give me the ability and the power to choose. Because I can choose to carry that rock around, or I can choose to throw the rock. And I choose to throw rocks. And we've had some loss in our life, sure. I don't hold on to it the way I used to. I mean, we've lost money, I've lost jobs, I've lost a baby, I've almost lost my marriage. But you know what can't be lost is your calling. No one can take that from you. Nobody, no matter what you're going through, no one can take that from you unless you decide to take it from yourself, unless you decide to collect so many rocks that you suffocate your voice. So I want you to look around today at the rocks that you carried in. And I want you to pick one. Go ahead, pick it up. That's a cue. Don't be scared. Don't hide. Pick it up. I'll pick one up with you. Once you have that rock in your hand, I just want you to close your eyes. What does this rock feel like? What color is it? What shape is it? Just roll it around in your hand. Is it sharp? Is it smooth? Is it heavy? Maybe you're similar to me and you have a really jagged rock. It's not hurting others, but it's hurting you. Maybe it's even the rock of comparison. Maybe it's a big, heavy rock. It's kind of taking your breath away. And maybe it's even that rock of overwhelm. And your next step is to learn to be more present. Or maybe it's one of those really pretty ones. You've never turned it over. Maybe it's time to think like, what does the other side look like? Am I blocking the flow of what I want most into my life? Or maybe you're carrying someone else's rocks. Your rock could be an addiction. Your rock could be self-sabotage, something on self-worth. It could be a toxic relationship. It could be a rock that's weighing you down in the past, needing to walk through a path of forgiveness. Or maybe it's a rock that's holding you in the future of worry and fear. What does that rock in your hand represent? That rock is separating you from yourself, you from the truth. It's tricking you to think that it's going to be hard when it's not, and that you can't when you can. And today you have the power to choose. You can choose to carry that rock a little longer, or you can experience the freedom of throwing that rock. So I'm going to count to 3, and I invite you to join me in the freedom of throwing that rock. 1, 2, 3. Feels good, doesn't it? I see some smiles. See some tears. Thank you guys for taking this journey with me today.